Hi guys and gals, welcome to a new tutorial. In today's tutorial we are going to be covering ladders and how we can put together a system that will allow our character to go up and down a ladder. We're not going to be covering any sort of animation implementation. I don't do animations yet. I'm still learning animation, and with animation I'm not at a point where I'm comfortable enough to teach that to you guys. I don't feel like I'd be giving you the right advice for the time being on animation. So I'm just going to show you guys how to implement the actual ladder system. So I will be providing you guys with a blockout ladder. Yay! I'll put that in a Google Drive. This is just something I've thrown together in 3ds Max. It's really just like, yay, square, square, cylinders. Woohoo! You can't use that for anything that's commercial, but you can use this for educational purposes, so we are fine to do this here, but please don't add this to any sort of commercial project, because you are not allowed, because my license doesn't allow for that. Okay, so basically what we need to do here is we need to communicate between the ladder and the player character, so that the player knows when the ladder is in use. So let's start by making a blueprint. Right click, blueprint class, actor, ladder underscore BP. We're going to open this up. We're going to add a component. This can be a static mesh. This is going to be our ladder. So let's just quickly find our ladder. Did I not call it ladder? Pretty sure I did. I did. Why did you not find? There we are. So we have our ladder. Now we need a way for the ladder to know when the player is touching it. So we're going to add a component. It's going to be box collision. There we are. Now we're going to move this to about halfway up the ladder, which I know is 200 centimeters tall. So I'm going to 400 centimeters tall. So the midpoint is going to be 200, and then I'm just going to scale this up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this goes a little bit over the top of the ladder. I'm just going to turn off the snap here, and a little bit under the ladder. And I'm also going to make sure that this is a little bit wider than the ladder, so that we actually have an area that the player can use. I'm just going to move this forward so we have a front face for the ladder at all times, and to make sure that we're always facing the right way, I'm just going to add an arrow. Boink. Now, I want my arrow to face this way. I want my arrow to face this way. There we are. So that's there. That's not going to be visible in the game. This is just to tell you which way the front of the ladder is. So we'll compile that real quick, and we're going to drag the blueprint into the level. So you can see I've got my lovely little arrow there, and that's going to tell me where the front is, which is the side that does not face the wall. So you can see there, it's doing lovely, lovely things. So let's go back into the ladder blueprint. We're going to select the box. We're going to right click, add event, on component begin overlap. Now we're just going to quickly delete the original bits. There we are. Now from other actor we're going to drag out, and we're going to cast to. Now I'm using first person, so I'm going to search for first person character, but you find whichever character that you're using. And then we're going to right click box again on end overlap, and we're going to do the same. Cast to first person. So only the first person character is able to actually activate this. Now we're going to head into our first person blueprint. Now you can get to that by just finding him in the level and clicking edit first person blueprint. If not, you can go to the content, and we've got the first person BP blueprints, and he's in here. So what do we need to do here? Well, we're going to get a variable. So variable is near ladder. We'll compile that, and by default this is going to be not true. Now I'm going to quickly right click, I'm going to say E, no I'm not, I'm going to keyboard E. That's going to be our use button, so we have keyboard E, and then from pressed we're going to branch is near ladder, plug that into the condition. In fact, I'm thinking that I might flip-flop this. Flip-flop. So we use a flip-flop here to change the condition by pressing E so that we can essentially just jump off of here. So is near ladder, yes, if we press E. Now this, I should mention that this version here is for allowing us to actually use a button press. So what I'm actually going to do is we'll come back to this. We're just going to leave this here for now, and we're going to make a new variable, and we're going to say is on ladder, and we'll leave this by default being false. So let's head up to our input here. You can see the movement inputs. So we're actually going to be using this to decide whether or not we walk up the ladder. So to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to drag from the move forward, we're going to branch this, and we're just going to break this off, hold Alt and left click. Is on ladder, plug into the condition, and we'll say if false, then move as normal. Okay, so that's just if false, move as normal. If true, what we need to do is we need to get player character, and then we want to get up a vector, so get actor up vector, and then we're going to add movement input here. Then from true, off of this branch that we've just created, we're going to grab the character movement here in the left, drag this out, set movement mode, and we're going to quickly move these again. Get out of the way, you painful things. Set new movement mode to flying, which will allow us to actually leave the floor. We're going to plug this in, like so. We're going to take the up vector for world direction, and we'll take the axis value of move forward to the scale. Then we're going to do similar here, because we don't want the character to be able to move in any direction while they're on the ladder. We're going to branch from the right, and we're going to drag out is on ladder, and we're going to plug in false. Hold control and drag to move the pin. There we go. So we've just got false, and that will allow us to move side to side as normal. Now, as you can see, this is quite nice here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to compile this. We're going to head back into the ladder blueprint. Find our ladder. Here we are. So what we're going to say is from here, as first person character, set on ladder to true if we're overlapping, and then to false if we're not overlapping. Okay, so now we're moving as normal. You can see we're moving as normal here. I can jump around, I can do whatever. If we approach the ladder, whoa, you can see now we're in flight mode. But it's not quite working. And the reason it's not working is because we need to go back into the ladder blueprint. We actually need to turn off is on ladder. Then from first person character, get movement. I'm going to get the character movement, and then set movement mode back to walking. So now if we approach the ladder, we'll enter flight mode, and if we leave, we re-enter walking mode. So you can see how that's allowing us to actually use the ladder here. And I'm having a bit of a trouble getting off of the top of the ladder, and it's because it's a little bit too tall. You can see that the flight movement is working as we'd like it to. So we can't move side to side while we're on it, but we can move up and down while we're touching the ladder. There we are. So, what can we do to just make this a little bit more streamlined? Well, we can actually make this onto a button press. So we're going to go into the ladder. In fact, rather than go into it, let's quickly just duplicate this. So we'll duplicate the ladder, so we can have one of each. So we'll leave this one here, and we'll move this. Oh, let's not copy that one. We'll drag out the new one, which is number 2, and place this against the wall. There we go. And now we'll open that up, number 2. We'll open up the first person character again. And what we're going to do is we're going to go down to where we had our E press, so is near ladder. And now we're going to change these. So is near ladder. Oops. We want to set is near ladder to yep. If we leave it, set is near ladder to nope. And then set movement back to normal. And inside the first person character, is near ladder. Well, if he is, and we've pressed E, then we want to set is on ladder to true. And then at any point, if we press E again, we want to say is on ladder set to false. Oops, false, false. There we go. So, if we approach our second ladder now, we should be unable to climb by just touching it, and we're not. If we press E, we can then climb it. But as you can see, we're going way too high. Until we press E again, but even that's not working. So why is that not working? Let's go in and we'll check it out. So on end overlap, we're setting his movement back. We're setting that, so that's okay. But first person character is losing something here. And it's probably this here. Because of the flip-flop. So we want to make sure that is on ladder is also getting turned off when we leave this thing. So come here, you is on ladder. Yep. So we'll say drag this out. Set is on ladder to false because we want him to no longer be on the ladder if he leaves the area of the ladder. Because, you know, that just goes without saying. And then back inside the first person, we want to say at this point is on ladder is off, and we want to just quickly grab a character movement, drag this out, set movement mode to walking. There we are. So now if we go in, if we approach this one, we get automatic climbing just by being near it. And if we go near this one, nothing. But if we press E, we then have the ability to climb and crawl back down again. And you can see I left its area there because I'm technically crawling out the top of this. And the flip-flop itself isn't actually working properly because when we leave the area we don't know whether or not we're flip-flopping. So we're just going to say on pressed, do that, on released, do that. In fact, we will boink. Let's see. If we're near a ladder, then and we're not on a ladder, then set on ladder and do the thing. But if we are on a ladder and we press it, and do that instead. That should fix the problem with the E button and the flip-flop. So let's quickly try that out. Now if we fall off, we should only have to press E again to... Yep. So there we go, that fixes that. There we are. Now the reason we keep falling down at the end there is just because of the way that this ladder's too tall for where we're trying to go to. So let's just quickly raise that up a little bit. We might need to make the box a little bigger as well. So we're just going to quickly scale that up a little. So essentially it needs to be able to hold the character's full size at the top. We'll do the same for this one here. Because, you know, he needs enough room to actually climb up before he decides to fall off. There we go. Now if we press play, we should be able to climb to the top of this. We can. And similarly, if we press E, we can now climb to the top of this one. And we should be able to, if we're near enough to it, to get near this, press E and fly, but we're not quite getting it. Probably because the collision's pushing us. Or because we're just leaving the area again. It might still be a bit too small on this one. Yeah, you can see there he's falling out. So there you have it. Two different ways of doing ladders. So one that's automatic, and one that you have to press E to begin the climb. As you can see there, yay. Now he's a little bit floaty, but we can change his dampening to make sure that he's less floaty while we're on there. So let's quickly do some of this. We'll say first person character. We'll open him up, and what we're going to do is we will head to here, and while he's flying, set linear dampening. We want to set the linear dampening of the capsule component to be quite high. Let's just quickly see what it is by default. Linear dampening is 0.001. So we're going to make this about 5. There we are. And then here we'll set linear dampening of the capsule component back to its default of... He's pressing all the wrong buttons. 0.001. Was it 0.001 or 0.01? 0.01. I did too many zeros. There we are. And we need to just go into the ladders just the same, because if we fall off we want the linear dampening to also get set back. So we'll say set linear dampening of the capsule component here to 0.1, compile that one and go back into the second ladder that we made and do the same here. Set linear dampening of capsule component to 0.1. And basically what that should do is remove some of the drag so that we feel a little bit less floaty while we're on here, although perhaps I've not set that up correctly. I know it seems less now, doesn't it? Whee! Oh, we fell off that one. Hee hee. Oh. Perhaps it's a flight thing. Let's see. We'll open him up. Let's see. Character. Flight. Do we have any flight? Yeah. So there we are. We will remove the linear dampening stuff that we just put in, because it's getting overwritten anyway. Remove this. Whoopsie daisy. Deleting too much there. We're going to select the character movement and just search for flight or flying, and then braking, deceleration, flying. We're going to say 5. We'll apply that real quick. Go into the ladder blueprints. Get rid of the linear dampening. That's the mesh. Derp. Get rid of the dampening. And now we should have some nice some deacceleration on the flight. So here we go. Yeah, you can see it's there. You see that we're getting a less flighty kind of climb up the ladders now, as you can see. So you'll have to. We're still being affected by gravity here, so we'd have to. Oh no, actually, you probably would. I mean, it's because he's bumping out the top. Yeah, there we go. So we just need to add a bit more deceleration or deacceleration. Yeah. You know, when you get those words that just really confuse your brain. We'll wrap that like real high, so say 100 for the deacceleration. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Awesome. So there you have it, guys. Ladders in UE4. Hope that's been useful. Hope some of you guys can use that in a project, and I'll see you next time.